everyone, it's Tara from Teach Without Tears, and today I want to talk to you about one of my biggest struggles my first few years of teaching, and that was collecting and organizing data. There are so many different standards that we need to teach throughout the course of the school year, and with 25 students, there's no way to remember which standards everyone has mastered. I tried a lot of different things, different checklists for the standards, and nothing ever seemed to work, and it was super time consuming. So I wanted to find a way that I could organize it and share it with my students and their parents. A few years ago, my school district switched over to standards-based grading, and that made it even more confusing because I had to give a student a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4 for each standard based on whether they were way below the standard, approaching it, meeting it, or exceeding it. And when I met with parents at conferences and I showed them that their child had a 2 on a particular standard, I really didn't have anything to back that up. I had my notes that I had taken and some assessments that we had given, but nothing really showed why they matched that particular number. So I wanted to make something that would help me address that problem. So at the same time, one of my teammates had started using brag tags in her classroom, and I thought that that was a really great idea too, and her students loved earning them. I just couldn't see taking the time to copy, cut, and organize them, and then to give them out as well would have taken class time. So I decided to try doing it on the computer, and that's where the idea for digital badging came about. Let me show you what this looks like. So every Friday, my students take an assessment on the standard I taught that week. For example, this standard is on determining the main idea of a text. First, they read a passage, and then they answer 4 questions using the information in the passage. The Level 1 question is always based on the first grade standard. The Level 2 question is based on the second grade standard. Level 3 is the third grade standard, and Level 4 is the fourth grade standard. These scores transfer directly then to our standards-based report cards because if my students get only the first grade level question correct, it means that they're far below the standard. If they get the Level 2 question correct, it means that they're approaching the standard. Level 3 means that they've mastered the standard, and Level 4 means that they've exceeded the standard. At the top of each of these assessments, there's a little character that matches it. My husband, who was a 5th grade teacher, he now does animations for Sesame Street. He made this whole line of characters called notebook babies that he used in his classroom, and I begged him to let me use them in my classroom too, because my students always love Pokemon Go and trying to collect all the Pokemon, so I thought that they might be equally excited about collecting all of the notebook babies. And they are. So let's take a look at the next step. After my students have taken this assessment on Friday, I check them and I give them a score out of 4 points. A 3 or a 4 means that they have mastered or exceeded the standard, and then they earn the badge that goes with that particular standard. So here's all I have to do. After I check them, all I do is come over here to the master badge list, and each standard, reading and math, because I have the assessments for both subjects, are matched with a character and a little character name. So each Friday after I've checked it, anybody who had a 3 or a 4 earns the badge for that week. So this is the one that went with the main idea of the text that we had just looked at, and all I do is I copy the picture, and then I open up, whoops, this one's going to make me Control C it. I copy the picture and then I bring it over to my student badge collection sheet. Each student has one of these as a Google Doc, and they can see it, but they can't add to it or edit it. Only I can. So I click in the new box. They've already earned 4, as you can see here, and I paste it in, and there's their new badge. All I have to do is go to each student that earned it, really quickly paste it in, and now I know if they've mastered the standard and they know if they've mastered the standard, which is huge because this shows my students what they still need to work on. I put pictures of the notebook babies and the standards that they match with around my classroom so that students can see which ones they have gotten and why they earned them, and which ones they still need to work to earn. This has been huge in my classroom. When the time comes to do those standards-based report cards, I just pull up the student's badge collector and I can just put in the numbers for them, whether they have mastered it or not. Plus, I have those assessments to pull out at parent-teacher conferences, and it shows them exactly why their child has a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4 for each of the standards. If you want to try digital badging in your classroom, head over to the Teach Without Tears Teachers Pay Teachers store and look into the 3rd grade Common Core Assessment and Data Keeping Bundle. This has everything that I just showed you. It's a bundle of all of the assessments, the reading assessments, both literature and informational texts, and the math standards-based assessments, plus all of the things you need to do the digital badging with the digital brag tags. So that's how I use digital badging in my classroom. So far it's only available for 3rd grade, but I am working on it for 4th and 5th grade as well. Down below I put the link to the product and also a link to another article that tells even more about digital badging. Please be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications so you'll get more updates with teaching tips. Thanks. Bye.